Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the first day of our Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I'm so excited to see all of your bright, shiny faces this morning. Hello, Frank, Wade, Sam. Really good to see you. If you don't know me, I'm Kathleen Martin. I'm an Associate Creative Director here at Adobe. That's a new title since the last time we talked. And I'm going to be your hostess with the mostest for the next week while we tackle some holiday goodness in Photoshop. Hello, Carol. So let me know where you're watching from in the chat. Let me know if you've ever done a DCC before, a Daily Creative Challenge, or if this is your first time. And I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking about if there's anybody who had done a DCC before or hadn't, and on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your comfort level in Photoshop? 1, total newbie, this is your first dive in. 10, you are Photoshop. You live inside of Photoshop, you breathe Photoshop. So let me know where you fall. What's up, Matthew, Cherry, Mercurial? Good to see ya. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. So I'm going to jump into what the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge is, and then we're just going to go ahead and jump into day 1 because this challenge is special. There's only 5 days as opposed to 9 days as there usually is. So day 1 is challenge day, baby. Tim says, I love this program. I am a 9. Nice. Josh, you're a 3. Very cool. General Kenobi, confidence 10, skill 1. We all feel like that sometimes, I think. Clarissa says, perhaps a 5. I respect that. All right, let's jump over to my screen so you can see what we're going to be working on today. That's Discord. We'll talk about that in a second. Just a little sneak peek. Let me get rid of this little banner for you. Boom. Just a little sneak peek. Like I said, we're going to be working on holiday cards today. Today we're focusing on just the basics of Photoshop. So this is like a really good refresher if maybe you haven't cracked open the program in a while. We're just going to be talking about text, how to get new fonts, how to change colors, that kind of thing. But if you want to get this holiday card template, let me show you how you do that. That's my Behance profile. So you're going to go to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, and that will land you on our beautiful landing page. So this is where you can actually sign up for the challenge. Click this big blue beautiful button, and that will basically subscribe you to get like alerts every day. That will take you to the starter files and the live stream and all that stuff. Sean says, no more showcases for Frank. Frank is too powerful. So if this is your first DCC, how this works is every day we're going to do a new challenge. You're going to join the live stream every day. So that's what this is. That's what's happening right now, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And then after you watch the live stream, you're going to complete the challenge. So I'll show you how I would do it, and then you're going to have the opportunity to do it yourself. Now, all of these challenges are totally beginner friendly, but I always recommend that if you're a little more skilled or a little more confident, you don't have to do exactly what I do. Just take the core tenets, take the idea of using text and shaping color, and go wild. And then the final step and the most exciting step is we're going to share our work on Discord and on our Behance profiles to get feedback. And then once they go on the profile, you're going to have an awesome portfolio piece by the end of the week. Very cool. There's so many friendly faces in chat right now. I really missed y'all. The last time I was here was July. It has been too long. Alrighty, so scrolling on down, if you want to get the starter file that I mentioned, go ahead and click this Get Started button, and that's going to take you to a fancy template. So if you have a CC subscription, you can click on the template and click Copy to your work, and that means next time you open up Photoshop, it's going to be there for you. Or if you just like to do a regular old download, you can click this download button, easy peasy. And we're just going to want to open that in Photoshop. So let's jump over to that template. So like I said, this is meant to be beginner friendly. You know, this might be a little bit boring for y'all who basically live in Photoshop, but let me just give you a quick tour of the workspace in case you might be lost. So when you open up Photoshop, when you open up a PSD or a Photoshop document, this is something like what you're going to see. On the left, you're going to see your toolbar. That's Discord talking to me. At the top, you're going to see your control bar. That's a technical name for it, but that's basically where you have additional controls. And on the right, you're going to find all of your panels. So this is where we're going to be hanging out today. We're going to be hanging out in our layers panel and in our properties panel. And those should be open by default when you open up Photoshop. Oh, Chris, I missed you too. Thanks, Judith. So if you want to kind of reset your workspace, maybe you've pulled out all of your panels and things are just looking a little bit wild, you can pull out your panels, by the way, and you can put them back if you want to when you're done. You can always come up here to this little workspace button and you can choose what kind of workspace you want. Maybe you're working in digital painting, you can choose the painting workspace. That focuses more on color and brushes. But I always like Essentials. I've been using Photoshop for a while and I still just hang out in Essentials. It just works for me. I know you only have me for 5 days. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Okay, so that's a little tour of the workspace. Pretty self-explanatory. Now you might notice that this template looks a little bit weird, maybe a little bit right side heavy. Well, that's because we're making greeting cards. So I had to keep the actual physical idea of a card in mind. So if you were to print out this piece of paper, you could fold it along this guide, which is invisible, by the way. This wouldn't print out, and you can make it go away by holding Command and colon, and that will hide the guide. But it's there just so you know where you would fold. So then you would have this cheers graphic on the front, a blank back, and a blank center. Judith says, can you lock your workspace? I have the unique ability to scramble my workspace when I least want it. Oh my gosh, Judith, I feel you. I'm not sure if you can lock it, but you can save your workspaces. So you can make a custom workspace, save it, and then when things get scrambled, you can just revert it back to that. So hopefully that works. Yeah, Tim, exactly. General Kenobi, L, happy holidays. That does look like an EL, actually. That's funny. It's supposed to be an ampersand, but maybe we'll have to choose a different font. Okay, let's jump into actually what we're going to be doing. Like I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on color, fonts, and that's pretty much it. We're keeping it simple for today. So I basically want to show you how I got from what I showed you previously to this. You can see that I've made almost like a quasi evergreen tree, Christmas tree out of these stacked letters. Created a graphic out of letters, and then added some additional details like a little star on top and some secondary type. But as you can see here, we just have some basic system fonts here. This doesn't look super great. I mean, it might look great to somebody, but it's not how I want it to look. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna travel over here to my layers panel. It's over here docked on the right, and you can see all of my layers are named, so you can change your name here. You can change your seasonal greeting to whatever you'd like. And then we have each letter in its own layer. So let's go ahead and just play with some fonts and build our cool graphic. So for this C, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. We're gonna jump back up here to the properties panel. And if you have a text layer selected, the properties panel is automatically gonna populate with text tools. It's pretty cool. It reacts to whatever you have selected. So for example, if I have this background layer selected, that's just a color fill, my properties are gonna change or they're gonna disappear because there's nothing we can really edit about this. If I go back to my text, we get all of our text options back. All right, so let's open up our character drop down, and you can see I have a lot of fonts going on. I don't know if you guys are drowning in fonts, but I kind of am, and I love it. I prefer to be drowning in fonts. I love that there's a live preview so that you can scroll through and see how that C is changing. And this feels very intuitive. You know, we don't have to know the font we're going to use beforehand. We can experiment and play. So like I said, I have a lot. You can see my little scroll bar on the right. There are just too many fonts maybe. So you can always filter as well. So I already have some fonts synced from Adobe Fonts. And that's a great segue to let you know that when you have a CC subscription, you have access to thousands of awesome fonts that you would have had to pay for individually if you had not had a CC subscription. So these are all of the ones that I have synced. And maybe I'm feeling a little bit wild and I want to sync even more. Super easy to do. When you have this character panel open, you're just going to come over here to this little Creative Cloud icon that says More from Adobe Fonts. Go ahead and click that. It's going to take you to a web browser. And now we have literally the entire power of Adobe Fonts at our fingertips. So you can type in your sample text. I've typed in cheers because that's the word that I am typing out to see how it's going to look. And I can scroll. And I really like this cinder font. This almost like black letter-esque type font is really exciting to me. I'm going to click into it. It shows me some ways that they have used it. Very nice. I can choose which typeface I want to sync. So I don't really need the italic one, but I do like the regular one. So I'm going to go ahead, click this slider, and activate the font. Now, when I go back to Photoshop, it's going to be there for me, just like a good friend. Agreed, Sean. The power, Sam. It's amazing. All right, so if we go back to all fonts, we can also look through our tags. So there's a specific tag for holidays right now, which is great. Oh, I love this. This is calling my name, I think. Pints. I've never seen this one before. Let's go ahead and choose Pints Classic, activate that. We can go back home. Now we can also look through recommendations. So there's a lot of awesome type designers out there and they know how to put fonts together in a way that maybe I don't. So you can look through these recommendations, see what typefaces look good together. It's almost like a blog. It's pretty interesting. And just go wild. I will not judge you if you sync, 100 fonts today. That's your prerogative. Alrighty. So let's jump back to Photoshop and let's see if that Pints font has been synced yet. Not yet. I think it's still thinking, which makes sense. Give it some time. In the meantime, I can go ahead and choose my typefaces. I'm excited to see what all y'all make with this. There are so many different combinations of typefaces that you can use. I use this typeface called Opaque as kind of like my central typeface. So a couple of my letters are going to be opaque and then a couple are going to be wild cards. How to access the CC fonts. If you're logged in with CC on your on Photoshop, you can open up your character panel and click this little More from Adobe Fonts button, or you can go to fonts.adobe.com. That's probably the easiest way to do it. All right, we're going down to H. What do we think for H? Maybe opaque again, perchance? All right, let's switch it up a little bit with this one. For this first E, I'm going to go with an old-fashioned, ooh, I've never seen that one before, an old-fashioned Becker Gothic. For my second E, guess what? It's not opaque. It's one of my favorite fonts called Beastly. I discovered this around Halloween time. Really like that one. All right, R, going back to opaque, baby. And for our S, something totally different. There's one called Baller's Delight. Adds a little bit of that grainy texture in there that I really enjoy. All right, for the exclamation point, I had a lot of trouble finding one that would work for this because, believe it or not, these are different for every single typeface. The punctuation is different for every single typeface. The letters and the numbers are different. It's pretty amazing. So for this one, I liked a typeface called Baltica. And there we go. Now I stuck with this kind of vintage mid-century style typeface for the bottom. That makes it look like you actually wrote your name. So from the Martins, but you could change this up if you'd like to. Choose something real bold and cool, but I'm gonna keep it as is for now. It is cute, Joanna, I agree. So maybe this color scheme isn't really your jam. You can really easily change the colors of your typefaces by clicking on one of your layers, choosing the color options in your properties panel, and you'll get a live preview of changing these up. This was like almost an elementary school-esque color scheme going on, which I think kind of vibes with the vintage feel. But if you want to make an overall color change all at once, let's go ahead and go to the top of our layer stack. I'm going to go down to my adjustment layers, and there are a couple different ways that we can change all the colors at once. If we want to be really specific with it, we can choose color balance, and that will allow us to choose specific colors and change them. but I just want to choose everything at once. So we'll go to hue and saturation. That will open up a new properties option for me. And I can just take this slider and adjust things. Maybe we want to do more of like an 80s neon vibe. That reminds me of the last DCC I did. Everything was like a dark background with neon colors. Raise your hands in chat if you were there for the, I think it was called Before They're Gone, the stamp collection that we designed. Maybe something a little more pastel. Ooh, kind of like that. Now maybe I want to go back to my original one. I just did Command or Control Z to undo my color changes. And maybe I just want to change my background color. I'm just going to go down here to my bottom layer, change background color here. You're just going to click on this little color swatch that's right there. Yes, you can see it. Good. Go ahead and click on that. Maybe double click on it. It's going to open up a color picker for you. And maybe we don't want green. Maybe we want like a dark blue. Ooh. It was pretty long ago. You might not be able to see the dark blue super well on the screen, so maybe I'll lighten it up a bit. Go back to green. Ooh, that's offensive on the eyes. Undo, cancel. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep it this like muted evergreen color. Alrighty. So I do have another layer that is these design extras down here at the bottom, and they're turned off by default in case you don't want to get too spicy. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on so we can see what that is. And that's just that little evergreen tree and the star detail that I added and told you about in the beginning. Now, if you want to do something like this on your own, if you'd like to make your own extra design to go around or behind your letters, I'll show you how to do that real quick. So we're going to make a new layer. Click. We're going to use the brush tool. So if you tap B as in brush on your keyboard or come over here to your toolbar, you can choose brush tool. And up here in the control bar, we're going to look at all of our options. So I have a couple brush packs downloaded that you can get with CC for free, but we're going to use the ones that are just default on anyone's Photoshop when they download. We'll go to the dry media brushes. Let's see, maybe we'll do the charcoal pencil. Thank you, Kyle Webster, for your beautiful brushes. Let me turn these off. All right, and let's zoom in a little bit. I'm doing Command plus to zoom in, Command minus zooms out. And here's a little fun fact, Command 0 goes and fills your screen at whatever size it is. So you'll see if I zoom in right here, the current screen size that I have allows it to be 75%. I can zoom in though and get to 100 if I want. Okay. So we're gonna come over here to our color picker on the toolbar. I'm gonna choose a light yellow. I could even choose the exact yellow that I'm using in my design by simply clicking on it when that color picker is open. Click OK. And you'll see if I scribble, it looks pretty scribbly, right? Now if I undo that, I can increase the smoothness. I'm just clicking and scrubbing to the right to increase that. And that gives me nice Disney lines, baby. That's what I like to call them. So smooth. Undo. However, for the star, it's super duper easy to make. You don't have to increase the smoothness at all. We could even put it all the way back down to 0 if we wanted to. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush a bit by tapping my left bracket key. You can always just come over here and decrease the size manually as well. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click, hold shift, click again. Hold shift, click again, hold shift, click again. And that's going to allow you to create straight lines between your 2 points just by holding shift. And we have a nice star. Very cute. Alrighty, let's jump back to our smoothing option. We're going to increase the smoothness to 100%. I'm going to use my eyedropper tool by tapping I on my keyboard. You'll notice that my cursor changes now to a little eyedropper. You can always come over here to your toolbar and just select it manually. I'm going to choose my background color, which is that dark green. And I'm going to click onto my colors and just lighten it up a little bit. Maybe even desaturate it a bit. All right, going back to our brush tool. Remember, we tap B for brush. I'm going to use my smoothness and I'm just gonna make some nice wibbly wobbly waves. I might even decrease the smoothness a bit. We're just adding some nice background texture. You can make this look as realistic or as nuanced, I guess you would say, as you'd like. I just want to give the idea that there's a tree back here. And there we go. I've got a cute little card design. This is ready for print. I could just print it out right now, fold it over, and be done with it. Marsha, that's a great question. You might want to ask that on the Discord server. People might be able to give you a more detailed answer. We'll talk about Discord in just a second when I export this and share it there. So like I mentioned at the start of the challenge, a big part of this is actually sharing the work that you make. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner, doesn't matter if you're not proud of your work. Getting to share it and getting feedback, it's always kind. Don't worry about anyone being mean. Is really important for growing as a designer and also growing your confidence. So if we go to File, Export, we'll just do a quick export as PNG. And we'll go ahead and put this on my desktop. We'll do day 1, holiday card, text, save it, and now we can share it to Discord. So if you're not familiar with Discord, it is the way that we stay in touch when we are not live streaming. So this is open 24/7. It's basically just a giant chat room, I guess you would say, or community that you can come and share your work. You can get updates on the challenge. So if you would like to join us on Discord, it's super duper easy. You're just gonna go to bit.ly/psdiscord, capital P, capital S, and you don't have to download any apps. You can do it in your browser, just as a web page. You can get it on your phone. Very simple, and I think it's a great way to make friends and increase your skills. Skills with a Z. Alrighty, so when you open up Discord, the Photoshop Discord, you're gonna see a bunch of channels on the left. And I know there's a lot. Don't be overwhelmed though. The 2 channels that you're really gonna be interested in for this challenge specifically are the Creative Challenge announcements. That gets updated every morning to tell you what the challenge is gonna be, where you can get the starter files, the link to the live stream, etc. And then if you scroll on down to feedback, you're gonna be interested in this challenge channel. So this is where every single day when you finish your challenge, you can post your work to get feedback. I'm gonna be in here a lot during the next week giving feedback to people. There's a lot of other awesome people too that are mentors and moderators and just community members that will give you feedback as well. So let's go ahead and upload my file. We're gonna go to our day 1 image. We'll say day 1 complete. What do you think of the color palette? It's a little elementary school. It's hard to type and talk at the same time. Send. It's always great to ask for specific feedback. And boom, now that I've shared my work, you can share your work. You don't need to be scared. We're all gonna be nice. We're gonna be helpful. It's gonna be a great time. All right. So that pretty much completes day 1's challenge. Tomorrow and the days coming, I'll also show you how to upload onto Behance once you've kind of polished your design with the critique that you've received from Discord. Then we can upload to Behance and have an awesome portfolio piece. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in Discord. I'm gonna be hopping out of here in just a minute or 2. But we have an awesome day of live streaming coming up. I don't know if y'all were aware, but Creative Cloud Express was just released today. So that's a new app, a new product that is really cool, especially for beginners who want to start building their brands, editing videos, that kind of stuff. I highly recommend checking it out. Claudia did an awesome stream right before me featuring that, and I'm sure there's going to be more coming up too. So let's bump back over to here. I really appreciate you welcoming me back for this holiday daily creative challenge. Again, I'm Kathleen Martin. I'll be around. I'm here to help. And with that, I will see you tomorrow, and make sure that you stick around for more Adobe Live coming up right after me. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.